a Canadian radio sanctuary podcast.
Bus for Education and Aboriginal Resources is what BEAR stands for.
And when did it start and how did it come to be?
It came to be in 2002 with Stalo Nation, and then Seabird Island took over in 2009. And it's still running today as you've seen it, and I've been driving it for going on 11 years myself.
Okay. When I first saw it, just from a distance, not really getting any information at that point, just from the bus, but I thought, oh, maybe it's a mobile library. Maybe others think that too, but it's actually a preschool on a bus, right?
Yeah, it's preschool or Head Start because it's a parent-involved program where parents bring their children, and it's a small environment but safe, and they can do similar things as they would at Head Start or preschool. Well, preschool is more, they drop off their children, but more of a Head Start program because then the parents can come in and sit with their children, play with them. They can do puzzles, read books. There's songs. They learn a bit of the language. And it was more for off reserve when it first started. And it was only until 2020 where we were able to go on to reserve now. So that's changed quite a bit of my schedule. So there's still a few off reserve areas that we kind of target and follow through with and continue those services there.
But do you stay mainly in the District of Kent area, Seabird and Agassiz? Or?
I go right from Agassiz all the way up to Boothroyd, up the canyon.
Boston Bar, wow.
Yeah. So
yes.
My schedule is quite full. Like I do 9 different areas per week. And there's a couple of areas. Tuesdays I do alternate between Chiam and Staelis. And then the rest of the week I'm in a different community in the morning and the afternoon.
When we go in the bus, what do we actually see there? Are there little tables and so on?
It's set up like almost like a camper in the back. When you first walk in, you'll see the back. There's a bathroom is the first thing you'll see, and then there's a parent board to your right. And then as you walk in, you see a kitchen, which has a table on the right-hand side where we can do arts and crafts and do snack time. And then as we walk farther in, I do have a radio set up in there now. So we can, rather than starting the bus, now I have my Spotify on my phone, so I can play preschool songs and kids songs or drumming, as well as having, the drums aren't on there right now, but drumming, and then there's a play area, like a loft they can climb up into. There's a spiral case that they can slide down on, so they climb up on the right and they can slide down on the left. And there's a smaller table that they can read books, do puzzles, or a big floor space where I have a big indigenous carpet in the middle, and there's area to do different things, like there's cars and more toys that they can play with, and which get changed out at least every month or every couple months.
So on an average, how many children would be inside the bus?
And on an average, depending on the community, because if I go to Staelis, I can have a group of 7 kids come in, and then they alternate. So I go to the daycare up there. So the preschool and the daycare alternate, taking turns coming in. And then the most I've had a family of 4 come in. Or if I'm in another community, there could be 2 families. And it sits about 2 families comfortably. So about 4-6 comfortably with 1 or 2 parents.
So when you say like at Staelis, you have one group would come in and then the next group. So how long with the first group? What is the time, the duration of that?
They get at least half hour to 45 minutes because they come in. I do a bit of a circle, so I read a book and we do a little bit of the language, and then they get to play because they're in a daycare setting already, so they still do their own circle and that within their own building. But I do a little bit of one because that's the services to provide 2 families, and so they come in. They get about half hour at least to play and.
Oh, that's nice.
And just for them, I give them resources and stuff to take with them to color. So there's at least 2 groups, 2-3 groups, depending on how many kids they have in that day.
I can imagine as a child, going in the bus itself would be a bit of a treat, wouldn't it? I mean, it's a little different having a little school in a bus like that.
Yeah, I've done, like, there was, over the Christmas, there was a Christmas thing going on in town, and I was invited to bring the bear bus, and so there was quite a few families that went through. Same thing, they've all seen it in places, didn't really know what it was, and quite a few went through, and I've met a few new parents through that way, and so it was good for me as well as it was for other parents to see what it was all about, and just to get out there and to kind of promote it a little bit more so people can see what it is. And the help that I had was great, so enjoyed it. It's been in the parade, the Agassiz Parade, I got for 2 years now, and I'm thinking about doing it for Hope as well, because I do go to Hope, and I do park at the Storytime in the Park when I go to Hope as well. Have different groups come through, different age groups, just so they can all see what it's all about and the excitement of what it is about, and the kids are excited when they get to come in and they get to climb, and a whole different environment. And best part for me is hearing the parents' comments and how they feel welcomed and how warm the environment feels, and that's a big part for me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it must be very rewarding feeling. Eh?
Yeah, it is. It is, especially when there's there's a couple of areas where I go to that it's pretty quiet, but it's a work in progress to always invite people, and it does. Like, I have heard that it looks like a library, and before, because it had blocks on the side before, we had the wrap done last year, so that's kind of why I tried to put a different design, a different wrap on it too. That in itself was a pretty big job to come up with the idea, and then to keep meeting with the guys who designed it, then to go on to the ones who put the wrap on, to make sure it was all going to fit in a way that,
Yeah, the design on the bus itself is beautiful. It really is. Yeah.
Thank you.
Beautiful
Thank you.
artwork.
And what I wanted was the whole concept of the indigenous part still, because it's mainly from Seabird and other surrounding communities that we serve. So I wanted it where the concept where the elders still teaching, and then the flags of the world I wanted on there, just so it would hopefully invite more people in. So it's not to show it's to show that it's for not just for indigenous families and stuff, but it's for everybody to come in. Because in Hope, I get a lot of people from different parts of the world. Like, I've had people from Ireland, Spain, and they just want to come in. China, they want to come in and ask what the bus is all about and just learn about the culture. So I've had visitors from different places up there as well. So that's been...
Now, I know the country of Germany has a thing for indigenous cultures of North America, don't they?
They do.
Do you get any German people come in? Or?
I don't think I've met anybody from Germany as of yet. I think Ireland was last year. There was a couple elderly men that came because they were visiting some friends that weren't doing so well, so they wanted to come back and pay their respects to visit. And then they ran across my bus and they stopped in and talked for about 20 minutes just to talk about what they were doing here and ask questions about the culture. But I do know Germany is country that does.
Yeah, they've been fascinated with the First Nations or indigenous cultures of this continent, Turtle Island, right?
Yeah.
And for many years, many decades, yeah. Yeah.
I've heard that, and I have met a few Germans who do have a lot of questions.
And just the one bus so far, right?
There's just this bus with us, but we do know of another program, the AFROG program, down towards Surrey, Vancouver. They serve that area, and I did get the opportunity to go and visit them. Theirs is a little different. They've used a school bus, and they've gutted it out and kind of put shelves in. Set up similar to us, but they don't have the funding so much as we do. So we get, I guess we're kind of fortunate with what we get, the funding that we get with our program, as opposed to down the AFROG program. But it's still a very nice program that they run as well. I mean, they're doing great with theirs, and they have the not necessarily issues, but difficulties trying to get people to come in and from different areas that we serve.
Wow, well, that's great. Thank you for telling us all about the bear bus.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
Thank you.